Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. We are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then to the Socialist. Good evening and welcome live to Washington, D.C. Mary Brockman, my bouncer in chief, is in the chat room. I hope that you will join her this evening for a great conversation, an American conversation with Patrick Howley, who is the editor-in-chief of BigLeaguePolitics.com, BigLeaguePolitics.com. He's not a stranger to us, and we're so grateful to have him here with us tonight. Patrick, toxic masculinity, and you had a lot of it. First and foremost, Catholic schoolboys going to an abortion protest, pro-life, coming from Kentucky. I mean, good old-fashioned boys. And they go after the protests. They go from the Supreme Court and they walk over to the Lincoln Memorial, and all they're trying to do is look at American history, pick it up from there, and tell the American people exactly what happened to these Covington Catholic schoolboys.
Well, unfortunately for them and for America, they fell into a setup. There was a group called the Black Hebrew Israelites that started really viciously taunting them. And if you look at that footage, it's horrible and disgusting. I mean, those kids really felt like there was going to be some kind of violent incident directed at them. And then you have Nathan Phillips, who is an activist. And we uncovered his activist group trying to raise money to send him into D.C., obviously for this project. This is a man who appeared in a 2012 very famous music video about attacking the police. This is a man who's being promoted by very big left-wing interests, and you can read all about that on the site. But this was obviously a setup. So this Nathan Phillips guy goes up to these kids and starts banging this drum and trying to create a confrontation. He was hoping that one of these MAGA kids was going to swing at him. They didn't, of course. I think they held their own. And, you know, they say that the tomahawk thing was racist. Well, you know what? I mean, if somebody is literally attacking you, those kids stood their ground, and, you know, they're not racists based on that video. It's absolutely ridiculous. But the mainstream media needed a narrative. And so, I mean, look, this thing was scripted. And so I thought, well, why are they going after these high school kids?
Yeah.
Because it's toxic masculinity, Ken. They go through these college campuses and they read the mainstream media, which is feverish nonsense. And you know who the enemy is in their eyes? White, middle class, you know, suburban kids from Kentucky in MAGA hats, Catholic high schoolers. That is the face of the enemy for them. It's ridiculous. I look at the video and I say, oh my God, these people are under attack. They look at it and they go, we hate those white kids. We hate those Trump supporters. And so they were whipping up a frenzy of hatred against these kids. These kids have been doxxed. These kids have been threatened with violence. These kids' entire lives are changed. And if the MAGA movement didn't step up on the internet, as we did over the last 48, 72 hours, thankfully, this could have gone really bad for those kids.
You have Hollywood socialites who jumped into the mix. You had DC politicians jumped into the mix. Immediately, a white boy standing his ground against a quote-unquote Native American, and I'm quite certain if you do a little investigation, he may not even be Native American, goes up against him, trying to instigate something. And instead of being encouraged because he was courageous and didn't do anything, his smirk is considered newspeak. It is considered Orwellian, that he is a racist by not doing anything. Was that scripted, or is that just the way the media operates in today's social climate?
Well, look, Ken, and I say this about CNN as well. I think the more ridiculous and dishonest they make these narratives, that suits their purposes, because what they're doing is they're sending a message that we're going to come get you. No matter where you are, no matter who you are. You might be a bright-eyed high school kid at the March for Life. It doesn't matter, because we've got the media, we've got the cameras, and we've got the power to shape narrative. And so we're going to come and get you. And it didn't matter that these kids didn't do anything. The message that they're sending is, if you put on a MAGA hat, we'll just lie. We'll make something up. We will ruin your life. We will find you no matter where you are, even if you're a private person. And, you know, that is a very dangerous message. And so it was so important for us to stand up to this, because if we had let this one go, as a country, we'd be in a very dangerous place going into the 2020 election, because their playbook is to go around and harass private people to the point where private people say, enough, I can't support Trump, I can't put on the hat, I can't go out to a rally because I'm just afraid that CNN is going to show up on my front lawn. I'm afraid that NBC News or one of these awful organizations is going to come get me. And so the message we need to be sending to these people is, look, they might come and get you, but if they do, we're going to be here for you. So we have to keep fighting, and we have to stay the course.
Patrick, you're not going to win a Pulitzer Prize acting like this. You need to be a little more reticent. You know what I'm saying? But in all seriousness, this morning, Donald Trump tweeted out his absolute support for the Covington Catholic School boys. And shortly after that, or shortly before that, we found out that the Catholic school, having been closed yesterday because of Dr. Martin King's birthday, after the boys had been harassed and harangued by the Black Hebrew Israelites and a Native American, and then the rest of the world piled on, now the school's closed. Is it closed because of a normal holiday process? What's the reason for the Catholic school being closed?
So the school was closed because, out of fear for the security of the students, obviously, because there's been a hate mob on a national level being whipped up against these kids. And, you know, when they do go back to school, obviously the media is going to be there, and it's going to be a big spectacle. Now, there were protesters today, including some who were caught on camera suggesting that there could be blood violence, and they were planning on protesting outside of the school, but with the school canceled, they went down to the Roman Catholic Diocese and protested there. These people are not going away. So even though we know the truth of the situation now, the activist mentality on the left is just, these kids are the enemy, let's go get them, because they are still committed to their mission of intimidating these children, these high school guys, okay, into silence. And because they think if they can do that, it sends a message to everybody else. It sends a message to your aunt and uncle, to your grandmother, to your friends. Don't put on a MAGA hat or the media is going to come get you.
I got to ask you, Patrick. We were all told over some of the mass shootings that took place that it was the sanctity of the school, a precious place for our children, not to be intimidating, not to, whether it's down in Orlando, Miami, Orlando, whether it's in Massachusetts or Colorado, that our children need to feel most safe at school. Why is that no longer the case for people on the left?
Because the kids were wearing MAGA hats. Look, there's no consistency. If you're looking for ethics or morals from the media, it just doesn't exist. There's no consistency in the things they choose to take on. The only consistent theme is go get Trump, go get his supporters. Because you know what, Ken? And this isn't a conspiracy theory. What they want is a one world government. They want to crush the American Republic. They want our system of freedom. They want our system of government to go away. And they want to crush us. And they are communists. That's really what it is. It's communism.
Thank you.
The Cold War never went anywhere. Okay? And so, you know, they told us the Berlin Wall fell, and so America wins. Well, communism is a lot stronger now than it was when the Berlin Wall went down. And you know what? Joe McCarthy was right. They control our media, too. So, you know, look, The media has just formed a mob. They don't care. They've got an agenda. Their agenda is bring down Trump and bring down this country. And so our job has to be, while we're still allowed on the internet, okay? Our job has to be to get as many people woken up as possible so that they realize that this is going on and that there are other people out there who feel the same way that they do, and we don't have to submit. We can fight, we can keep going.
The playbook is wide open now. You're right. No child is safe of someone who supported Donald Trump. This is intentional. This is political warfare at the worst deposit of it. I want to ask you, in terms of RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, is this preparation by the left to show the American people what it is willing to do to protect itself in the Supreme Court?
Oh, I think that's definitely a part of it. I mean, we saw Gorsuch get in, but he was taking a Republican seat. Once Kavanaugh came up to take a Democrat seat, it was war. And they knew that Kavanaugh never sexually assaulted anyone. They knew that the whole thing was a fraud, but they went to the mattresses and they fought, and they were chastened by that loss. Now, with the Ruth Bader Ginsburg seat, that is going to be, I mean, look, the left wants violence. We have shown this time and time again.
Thank you.
I have personally taken on Antifa, and you know, that's a dangerous thing to do.
Yeah.
These people are communist radicals, and they want war in the streets. And this Ruth Bader Ginsburg thing, oh boy, that's going to be a big, big test for this country.
Exactly. Now, Kamala Harris, Senator, I'm supposed to say Senator, the Honorable Kamala Harris, threw her hat in the ring yesterday, Martin Luther King birthday, to become president of the United States of America. She, along with Feinstein and other senators, have questioned the Christianity or the display of Christianity by Amy Coney Barrett, who is supposed to be the replacement for RBG. What does it mean for Kamala Harris in this particular race? Is this just an extension of the Obama administration gone wild?
Well, look, I'm not going to take tips on Christianity from the Democrats, okay? I don't think the Democrats care if someone is a good Christian or not, considering that the thing that they advocate for most is, in my opinion, killing children, killing babies.
Yes.
But you know what? I mean, and that's really what this is about. You know, Kamala Harris encourages lawbreaking by having a sign outside of her Capitol Hill office saying "Dreamers welcome here." And when I called her out about it, she actually replaced it with a Spanish language, the same sign. These people do not care about Christianity. They don't care about our republic. They're trying to crush our republic. And the sooner we realize that the things they say are not true, the things they say are strategic lies, the sooner we can all just disregard what they have to say. You know, we don't have to live in their narratives anymore. Now, and that's another reason why you see Silicon Valley censoring and banning so many good people, because they know that if the truth gets out there, the truth is always going to be more powerful. Because I believe that the power of love is stronger than the forces of hate. That has been shown time and time again all through history. And so they want to suppress the power of love and the power of truth because it contradicts their communist agenda.
You did great work in terms of the Covington Catholic student boys and their work. And we have video. We played it last night on our program to show the world exactly what took place and that it was not true, the lies that the media was placating upon these children. But in the sense of Nathan Phillips, you all did a blockbuster notice today regarding his acclaim for being a Vietnam War hero. Is that true? Is the media lying about that?
Yes, the media did lie about that. This is a case of stolen valor. Nathan Phillips is not a Vietnam War veteran. And I'm very happy to say that the Washington Post has now officially come out with a correction identifying the fact that Nathan Phillips never served in the Vietnam War. So, you know, this is yet another lie. This is yet another attempt by the left to appropriate things that are important to patriotic people, like
Yes.
the plight of our veterans, and they just cynically use that to push an anti-American agenda. But this man was not in the Vietnam War.
Want to move right now in the final moments that we have to someone who has really taken the world by storm. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is representative in the House of Representatives, of course, and her first few months in office, she has literally garnered the opposition of hardcore establishment Democrats. But she came out recently and stated that the greatest threat to America is not what's coming to the wall. A total of 100,000 people leaving Venezuela to come towards Washington, D.C. or to the U.S. The greatest threat is not Russia, it's not China, it's not North Korea, it's not Iran. The greatest threat to America is climate change. And the prophet that she is, she predicted on, I believe, Saturday, that in 12 years, the world would be no more because of climate change. I want to get your thoughts and your research on Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Well, it's quite possible that in 12 years the world will be no more, but it's not going to be because of climate change. Climate change is a communist hoax that's been cooked up to try to regulate the private sector to death in the United States through the EPA and other things. So look, it's not going to be climate change. Ocasio-Cortez is an interesting case because she and her fellow freshman congressmen, by virtue of their media acclaim, they are really taking over Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer's party, and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer on their way out. So you see the establishment in the Democrat Party, being pushed out by these new people. What's fascinating to me is Ocasio-Cortez usually goes around as a unit with Ilhan Omar.
Yes.
And also Rashida Tlaib, who are Muslim congresswomen. Now, if you're a communist, and this is what they call the Red-Green Alliance, the communists and the radical Islamists have teamed up because they both have a shared interest in defeating the United States. But, communists are atheists. And so how are they going to be able to make it work if they actually, God forbid, do ever take power in this country? They're going to start fighting each other. This is a very dangerous development. And I think people don't realize quite how radical the new Congress people are on the Democrat side. However, what might happen, and I'm hopeful, if these people actually do end up taking over the Democrat Party going into 2020, people are going to see finally what we're up against. And people are going to start talking on a mainstream level about Antifa and about the violence and about, the threat that we're all under because of the radical left and radical Islam.
Yes.
And then you might have a silent majority major pushback, even bigger than 2016, to restore our republic. And that might not have happened if these dithering bureaucrats like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer had just keep control of the party. So we are going into a new age. These are young people. Ocasio-Cortez is 29. This is a new generation. These people do not respect the Constitution. They do not respect our republic. And so we are going to have, look, politics is going to be lit. Politics is going to be lit for a long time going forward.
Exactly.
And my message to people out there who are American patriots and who believe in this country is, don't get intimidated, don't get afraid, because there are people like me and a lot of good people out there who have got your back no matter what.
30 seconds. Does the government shut down in this week, or are we going into March with this?
My prediction is that it's not going to end this week because Nancy Pelosi just can't stand up to George Soros and build the wall, even though you've got Dreamers on the table. You have the Violence Against Women Act now. Democrats are blocking the extension of the Violence Against Women Act. Trump has out-negotiated them. But, look, Trump doesn't need to open up the government, and he doesn't seem to be in a rush to do it. So from an art of the deal perspective, Trump is winning, and he can just keep this shutdown going. BigLeaguePolitics.com, ladies and gentlemen. Patrick Howley, editor-in-chief of that particular organization.
You need to make it a part of your daily life. God bless you, sir. We're going to have you come back in a few weeks to keep us pace of what's going on with the communist movement in America. God bless you, sir. Thank you so much.
God bless you, Ken, and all your viewers. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies